How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTCReaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So over on Dixie for the daily, we are breaking toward that previous consolidation range. This is from the previous bear market. So this is where we got our major breakdown. So once we get back into this range, if we can reclaim it, we could revisit previous all-time highs for the dollar index. That would be positive for our buying power and other things. RSI is pushing up, stochastic is gaining strength, VWAP is pushing up, and money flow is pushing forward. So overall, we do look pretty positive here. Over on the 1 hour, we did reject breaking into that zone, so I would watch for a bounce off this 105. If we can make a bounce or get higher highs with higher lows, then we do still have a chance of pushing up and continuing into that range. RSI is starting to weaken, momentum is dropping, stochastic is dropping, VWAP has lower highs and lower lows, but we are pushing forward, so watch that VWAP. If that VWAP gets a rejection of that neutral or a weak high again, then it's likely we would continue lower and continue to sell off. So over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we do have a little bit indecision, maybe a little more bearish side. We did try to break down and the bulls did try to gain strength. So that could be positive, trying to signal we may get further bullish momentum with a slightly higher low and continue for a higher high. So that means altcoins may not do as well as Bitcoin here. RSI is pushing up, stochastic is gaining strength. That VWAP is trying to break that neutral, so I would watch. Thank you for stopping by again, Abolisher. We'll get on graph right after we get on everything else, so I appreciate your requests. We'll get on that after we get to Bitcoin and futures, so just shortly. RSI is pushing up, stochastic is gaining strength. That VWAP does want to break that neutral, so we do look positive here, at least for Bitcoin to outperform our total. Our total did try to break that 801 area like we said to watch for, but we got rejection. We did try to break our 743, but we did manage to hold. Right now, we just have indecision. I would watch for a red candle. A red candle could bring our altcoins lower. Stochastic is pretty flat, RSI is pretty flat, momentum wants around, that VWAP is pulling back, and money flow is in the bullish territory, but it's starting to come back. Over on the 1 hour, we did make a bounce off that neutral area, or that 743, so that is positive. That can continue to push us forward, but we need to continue to get higher highs with higher lows. If we get a lower high here, I would watch for a break and a rejection of that area. If we see that, then we could continue lower. If we do not see that, we will try to break that 801 and continue higher. I don't think we've quite been higher than that. We can look on the weekly quick, but money flow is pulling back, stochastic is pushing up, RSI is gaining strength, momentum is pushing up, and VWAP is remaining bullish, getting a higher high after getting a lower low. So that is very positive. We did maintain through that kind of bearish momentum, and we did push forward. If we can remain bullish here, then we could continue to see our altcoins run up. So over on the 1 hour, we have been above that 801. So we could draw a horizontal line right here. So right around, I'd say this area here, we have some candle wicks, some candle bodies. I want to make that black. That way it's like the rest of them. So that 936, we do have another resistance right around that 1 trillion mark as well. So that's kind of the next support resistance areas we would be watching. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are seeing a little bit of a bearish momentum. I would watch for these gaps to fill. Again, we want to make a higher low and then push for higher highs to continue through that 90K. If we sell off and pull back, it's not going to be the end of the world unless we break that value area high. Then we could see lower targets. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is dropping, momentum is rounding, that VWAP is pushing back, and money flow is in the bearish territory, so if that VWAP continues lower, we could continue to sell off. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a potential double top here, so here's our path tool. You have this rise, a drop, a rise, so if we break this blue EMA and continue down, we could get another drop that would break us lower. I would watch, that would be our neckline right here. And then you would draw from your neckline to your head, get your breakout point, apply that down as this is a bearish pattern. And that would be a retest of that 300 EMA right around 75K. RSI is pulling back, stochastic does have a bearish cross, momentum has a red dot, and VWAP is pulling back. Watch that VWAP close. If it makes a higher low followed by consistent or higher highs, or favors bullishly from here, we do still have the potential to keep momentum bullish, keeping money flow in the green and pushing higher time frames up. But if that VWAP starts to break in a bearish trend like back here and then holds, it's likely we would continue lower. Remember, you want to watch more when that money flow starts to weaken, because here we had a bearish trend, but money flow was green. We continued up. That's why it's important to watch all these things in confluence, all these things together. Don't take one indicator and run for it. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, stochastic does look like it wants to round away. RSI is starting to pull back. Momentum wants to round. VWAP has lower highs and money flow is pulling back. It does mirror futures, so we'll see very similar things, just like this double top possibility that could break us down toward that resistance area right around 76k. RSI is starting to drop down. Stochastic is falling. Momentum is rounding. If graph market cap is at 2 billion right now, would need to reach 10 billion to get $1. I don't really pay too much attention to the whole market cap thing, because some of those take things out of context, like they don't consider new coins coming in. Like I had one person trying to say, oh, they made it big because they bought a coin and that coin had like 40% of the coins coming in. It's more of a supply and demand thing. Does your coin have a lot of the supply out? If it has a lot of the supply available, then you're more stable. If you start adding 20 to 30% of the supply, then your coin's going to suffer. That coin did shoot up, but it did crash down, and it's been one of the losers against the rest of the market. And so I watch more who's holding, how big are the holdings, where are those. That's going to tell you more of how the money is going to move, because people are going to hold, things are going to go up, inflation happens, things like that. So market cap can increase in other ways besides people buying. VWAP is starting to pull back. Our momentum is rounding. We do have a red dot. Watch that VWAP. If it continues lower, momentum could continue to drop. That would cause money flow to continue lower and continue to push us down. That being said, we did have that 1 trillion market cap. So over on graph here, jump into the weekly, we did have that 1 trillion market cap, and that 1 trillion market cap was probably around where we were at that $2 mark. So that being said, we likely would need that 1 trillion market cap to come back in order for us to see that push forward, or we need a lot of people buying. We really don't have too much buying momentum right now. We are still in somewhat of an accumulation phase. We did try to start to push forward, so if we can break away from this, I'd say 31.95, 31.954, and this 16.316, if we can get out of this zone and continue forward, that's where we may start to gain that trajectory up. If we stay gridlocked in the zone, it's going to be really hard to push forward, because this is more of like an accumulation kind of zone, especially if you look at how that weekly looks. We have kind of this accumulation going on here. We did run up. We have a little bit of accumulation going on here. So you would want to see a similar run up in order to continue to push you forward. So I hope that answered your question. If not, feel free to clarify or ask something else. So over on the daily, we do have a rejection of that 300 EMA. So for December, I would say if things do continue up, I would watch all these resistance areas. It's really hard to say how the market's going to go. Usually December is more of a selling season because people are trying to sell due to taxes and other things. So I don't think we would see too much momentum, but there have been like Christmas rallies where crypto just exploded on Christmas. So it kind of depends on, are people trying to tax harvest losses or not? If they're not, and they're more trying to buy, which we are, right around that 1 year period of after the halving, and after that 1 year period roughly is when you start to get that explosive move in your industry. So ideally around March, April, usually like I'd say around May, usually a lot of people do tend to kind of sell off. They say sell in May, walk away. I'd say more during tax season, you do see quite a bit of push up because people are getting money back. Then they're starting to invest after the end of the year. So it kind of hard to say. Depends on how people are looking at the end of the year financials. If they're looking good, they're going to buy more investments. But I know companies that have not done much investing right now because they were uncertain because of elections. Now that elections is over and they have a more clear idea, there is a chance they could start to invest more. That's why we've seen like the Dow hit all-time highs and just run up just on news of the election results. So you do have things like that. Election times are kind of hard to predict. I really go more based on how your patterns look. I'm a pattern trader. So if you have a rising triangle that pushes you forward, then that's what I'm looking at for my next breakup. I take things in the strides they are. I don't really try to go for the max up, max down. If you do that, usually you do end up getting caught with your pants down. So not a good situation. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is starting to pull back. Momentum wants to round. VWAP is pushing down and money flow is bullish, but it's starting to round away. Yeah, I'd say right now we're still kind of in an accumulation phase, maybe for the next couple months, and then ideally after the next couple months is when we'd start to get more of that explosive move. So I don't think we quite lost on the train yet. Obviously, Bitcoin did run up against the rest of the market. Bitcoin is seen as less risky. You have other countries starting to buy in. The US wants to buy like 1 million. So you have things like that going on Bitcoin that's pushing up. And that is giving hype to the altcoins. We do have ETFs going on for things like Ethereum, XRP, Solana, different things like that. I'm not sure if the Solana one fell through or not, but I know the ETH and XRP one are most likely going to be going through. So you have things like that where people are going to be buying in on these assets in different areas. So they're going to be using more traditional markets like some sort of stockbroker to buy that ETF that's going to hold those coins because they don't want to deal with the whole holding their coins and the risk that is associated with that. So that does open the doorway for more of your typical not very savvy investor to start getting into the crypto industry. So in my opinion, this could be that run up where we start to see actual adoption of the crypto industry. So over on the 1 hour for graph, we are pushing forward. We do want to round away. I would watch if we break through 3 EMAs here, we may retest lower lows. So this could be a lower high. Watch that VWAP close. That VWAP does have higher highs and higher lows, so we do look positive. Momentum is gaining strength. Money flow is in the bullish territory, but starting to pull back. But if that VWAP does stay bullish, that money flow can start to push forward, providing momentum breaks that neutral, and then we continue. Remember that money flow lags behind momentum, which lags behind VWAP. So we do cover that a bit more in the Mastering the Trade as well. 5-minute videos, about 20 videos that cover basic to very basic kind of skills to more of how you can look at things for a trading aspect. So if you're not too familiar, I would check those out. You could get it done in a day, no problem. I'd watch them more than one time because you're not going to absorb everything at once. So our stochastic on the daily for Anchor is pretty maxed out. RSI is running up. Momentum is gaining strength. That VWAP is bullish and money flows in the green. Abolisher also, if you want, you can join our Discord. I did drop that link in the comments. There's also one in the description. Let me know if you can't find it because I'd like to see you join our community and be a helpful, active part of that as well. So over on the daily, we are breaking that 300 EMA, continuing forward, breaking that 30-cent area that we did say to watch to break. So that is very positive. We do have that potential to continue to that 34.85, providing the rest of the market pushes up. Now, Anchor did trade away from the rest of the market, much like XRP. So you do get your outliers. So sometimes one industry may push up, then you'll move on to another industry. People will move their money around. You'll go from AI to like some sort of indexing coins to gaming tokens, and then it could go back to Ethereum, then back to Bitcoin. You kind of have this cycle that goes on. So watch how things are moving, and that can give you the idea of how those cycles will work. That stochastic is pretty maxed out here. RSI is getting there as well, so watch that stochastic. If it breaks down, RSI could lead price back. We did run up for days on end. Usually you do retrace. When you run up very quick, you do come back crashing down. VWAP does want to round away, money flows in the green, so we are bullish and we do look positive. Again, just exercise caution and watch these supports and indicators closely. Over on the 1 hour, we have higher lows with higher highs, so we are continuing that bullish continuation. As positive, that can give us that momentum to continue up toward that 34.85. So I'm not saying we're completely out of the water here. We could continue forward. VWAP is bullish, money flow is losing strength though, so watch that VWAP. We do have VWAP kind of rounding away. If it breaks down, money flow could start to push away. Momentum is starting to taper as well. So if that VWAP does lose trajectory and break that neutral and hold, then we could start to push lower. But right now that VWAP is bullish, so we do have a higher high. Watch for higher highs with higher lows to continue. That will continue to push us up. Now over on XRP for the daily, we push up to our 75. We've been saying 80 cents for this pattern we just didn't let go of, and we did get pretty much the full play out, so now we're letting go of it. So we did push up toward that 75, got rejected by that resistance area. Stochastic is pretty much going flat. RSI is pushing up. That momentum is gaining strength. VWAP is pushing forward, and money flows in the green. So overall, we did run up very quickly. Again, watch for a retracement. Again, if we retrace, not the end of the world. So over on the 1 hour, we have higher highs. Watch for lower lows with lower highs. If we get lower lows with lower highs, we could break down. But right now, we do still have that bullish continuation as the highs and lows don't connect right now. Thank you for joining, Abolisher. I appreciate it. Yeah, reach out and text us there. Also, Interact, we do have things going on, like we are into 3D printing, various aspects. So if there's something you're interested in and you just want to shoot the crap, just do that there too. So we have a double red dot momentum starting to round away. RSI is starting to drop. That stochastic does want to push forward, so we do have some bullish momentum there. But that VWAP does have a lower high with a lower low. Watch that close, because that lower high with lower low, if it translates into price, getting lower highs with lower lows, could end up breaking us down and pushing us away. Not sure a retest of that 63 where our value area high is. If we reject that 63, then I'd watch our other support areas that we have. So last but not least, unless anyone has any requests, we have algo for the daily. We did hit that 1618 like we've been saying to watch for, and we got rejected, so I would exercise caution and watch those lower time frames. Stochastic does have a bearish cross. We have that orange above blue, so that does want to pull back, and RSI is starting to drop. So watch those lower time frames. If they start to favor more bearish, we can see a rejection here. Momentum is starting to round, VWAP's pulling back, money flow is weakening, so I would exercise caution here. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a potential lower high, so if we break for a lower low, breaking below this 44.2 with a candle body, then we could continue lower and retest that 1350, at which point if we break that, I would watch this point control, that faint blue line, right around that 1229 area. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI wants to round, that VWAP is in a bullish trend with higher highs, slightly higher highs and higher lows, and momentum is breaking bullish. If that VWAP stays in this bullish territory, we can continue forward. This could just be a temporary retracement. So remember, we did move up very quick in retrospect to how big these candles are on the time frame, not to the daily. So we do see a little bit of retracement. If we push up off these EMAs and continue, we could still make a higher high. So this lower high isn't quite confirmed yet. Again, watch for confirmation. The way to confirm it would be several red candles. You get 2 red candles, you usually could push down. It doesn't have to happen though. So that's why you want to watch your VWAP, momentum, and money flow, because all these things together kind of make up the big picture. Don't try to single one part out. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I appreciate you all for watching. Have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't.